All right. Wait to see if I see. No, I'm not live in 6 minutes, YouTube. Well, YouTube can't even tell time, right? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Come on. All right, we'll see if you guys can see me. I'll wait for the screen. See if I see me at all. And we're 30 seconds in. No, YouTube, I'm still here. Still waiting for you. There we go. Jacob says 5x5. Healthy Disrespect does. Salt Mist Cottage. Swither. I'm going to try to refresh my screen again because it still says it's waiting for me. Biggest company in the world. Can't figure out the clock. Come on, YouTube. Oh, nice. All right, so now we're going to kick me out altogether. All right, let's see if we can go back here. All right, this time it shows me. Let's see if it'll show the chat. Come on, can we do everything? Hey, what do you know? We're here, and I can see me. God, every week it's something. I don't know about you guys. I joke with Mrs. P all the time. I swear I spend half my week trying to do somebody else's job or telling them how to do their job because they can't do it right. I mean, we don't have to talk about people in the drive-through who can't make change or something like that. It's dumbfounding to me how many people. Y'all remember this? A lot of you guys are my age. Okay, we're older. Y'all remember we used to take pride in our job. Somebody'd ask you, you'd introduce yourself. It's like, "Hi, I'm Bob." "Oh, what do you do, Bob?" "I'm an accountant," or whatever. And I mean, that was kind of your identity, somewhat, at least. But you took pride in it. And I don't care where you were. I'm a fry cook at McDonald's, or I'm the senator from Georgia, whatever it was. I mean, anywhere in between, you took pride in what you did. Good luck finding people now. I mean, the only thing they're like, "Well, it's 8:02 on Monday. Where's my paycheck? I want 40 hours. I've been here for 2 minutes." It's just, yeah. And I mean, I see the same thing with YouTube. It's like, you got to be kidding me. They can't get the clock right. It's like, oh, start the live stream right at 9 o'clock, live in 6 minutes. No, YouTube, I'm live now. It's like unbelievable. Learn how to tell time. But it kind of brings me into I had one hell of a week today, this week, with one issue. Remember last Saturday we gave away a lion cooler and a generator? Well, the lion cooler was being sent straight from Wellbot, so that was good. The generator I had here at the house, and so I was sending it off to Karen, who was our winner. So she sent me her email. I got my shipping label, and on Monday, UPS was coming to deliver a package for Mrs. P from Amazon, right? Okay, easy enough. They bring our package, I give them the other one back, no sweat. Done this hundreds of times, right? Oh, well, the substitute driver we had failed to scan the package of the generator. So Tuesday, and I didn't know this at the time, so Tuesday, I look online to see where it is in the system, see when it's going to be delivered. They show they haven't received it. Okay, I call up UPS Tuesday evening. "Oh, we reset our systems at 7 o'clock at night. You'll see it tonight." Okay. So Wednesday morning I look. Still not there. Call them. "Oh, you got to file a claim, but you can't do that till tomorrow." So then I deal with them on Thursday, and the claim wouldn't go through online. So I finally had to get somebody on the phone after waiting for the right person for an hour. So they finally got the investigation started. And then on Friday, I'm like, "Okay, well, what's the deal?" I said, "Here's who the driver was. You know exactly who he is. He dropped off this package, picked up the other one. What happened to the package?" "Well, we won't know anything until the 12th. I'm like, you got, and I've kept Karen in the loop on the whole thing because obviously she hasn't received her prize yet. But I'm waiting for UPS to tell me, well, I'm sorry, we can't find your package. That's that. So uh, I'm waiting till the 12th, and then I'll make Karen whole because it's not her fault that UPS screwed up. It's still my channel, so it's my responsibility to make sure this is done. But yeah, it's just it's another one of those things. It's like, oh my God, please, somebody do your job right, and Mrs. P will tell you. I mean, it's how many times I say this and how much extra work I've got to do trying to explain to somebody how to do their job. And y'all know this too, whether it is making change or being in a restaurant and the cook can't tell the difference between medium rare and well done. Uh, you know, it's just whatever happened in pride in your work anymore. You know, I don't know. I still take pride in what I do, because my name's on it, and I want people to understand it's like I'm not perfect, but I did my best. And if I can't do it, I'll tell you I can't do it. I'm not going to fake it. But, certainly not going to lie to somebody or steal from somebody like this guy. And, who knows what. Just frustrating. So, yeah, that was it. So today it was one of those, okay, I just need to get out, turn on some music. I figure, okay, I'm gonna go work on cleaning my garage. That was the extent of my day. And Mrs. P's like, you've been out here for 6 hours. I'm like, yeah, it's a mess, from all the building projects I've done and sawdust all over the place and just everything, putting garden stuff away, all my greenhouse stuff because everything's in the garden now. So it's like, okay, that's got to all go out to the shed and things. Yeah, that was it. So it was a chores that you don't want to do day for me. So that was it. But I hope everybody had a good day. It was a beautiful, gorgeous day out here to be outside. I mean, if we hit low to mid 70s, I'd be surprised. It's just perfect. So. All right, let's get into some Q&A just for the excitement here. As per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Just makes life easier for me to find them in the chat, and they like I'm the only one on YouTube that does that. Only requirement, as per always, please keep it civil in here, guys. Treat others with the same respect you'd want to be treated with yourself. Okay? If you don't want to be respected, you don't want to treat other people with respect, say goodbye now. If you don't want to do it, we can do it for you. It's pretty easy. All right, let's get into whatever's going on here. And I figure we'll have probably gardening questions is going to be quite a bit considering what's going on. Let's see. First one, stands alone. Please, tomato plants making beautiful flowers. After 3 days, flowers look like they were bit off. The leaves are okay. Help. Bit off. My guess is that's probably what's being happened. You've got something that likes the flowers, whether it's raccoons or skunks or voles or moles or something is looking at them and saying, okay, they were good. I'll give you an idea. Get some chili powder. Go to the dollar store and buy some chili powder. Shake a little bit of chili powder around the ground and maybe a little bit on the plant. They'll stop pretty quick with that one, I'm betting. Once they get a taste of chili powder in your mouth. Tristan, thank you for the super chat. Says, if anyone in Arkansas needs beef, join the Facebook group Childers Farm to Table Arkansas. $1,500 a half a beef average, $800 a quarter. Christ, that's expensive. I've purchased a beef and a half, always expensive. Here's some money for the Christmas fund. Thank you for the money for the Christmas fund. That's nuts what you're paying. I paid $800 for a whole beef last year. Not a quarter, a whole beef. Okay, now granted it was a steer, not a cow. But it was still 370, 380 pounds for of meat. Okay, after butchering, 1,500 for a half a beef is insane. Okay, but again, we're talking about what regional prices are. It's going to be different everywhere. Okay. Wow. All right. Moving on along. Hang on. Of course, we got straight to the bottom there after reading one comment. Breed. I know YouTube doesn't preview channels for ads. Ones I see here are for Biden Harris. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. You know, every time they put a Joe Biden ad on one of my videos, I mean, if there's out of 100 and almost 15,000 subscribers, if we've got 5 people that watch this channel that are going to vote for Joe Biden, I'd be surprised. Okay. If the Biden administration wants to waste money paying for ads here, fine, works for me. Okay, piss it all away, Joe. I mean, honestly, I think the political advertising is pretty stupid at this point anyway. Anybody who hasn't made up their mind on who they're going to vote for between Trump and Biden right now has their head in the sand so deep, you know, they're probably, you know, eating egg rolls. But yeah, you know, I really hadn't made up my mind, but that Joe Biden ad right there, that was it. I'm voting for Joe. Really? You know, so yeah, advertisement maybe was worthwhile back 40, 50 years ago, but think about it. I mean, when's the last time an advertisement changed your mind on buying something or voting for somebody or whatever? It's like, you know, you get a pop-up ad. Oh my God, I've got to get this game, or I've got to go buy this because that ad's there. You know, no. Soul Reaper, Pinball, do I make my own homemade wine? Well, what was it? On the 22nd of May, I showed you guys how to make strawberry wine. I have made a blackberry wine since, and Mrs. P and I picked a boatload of plums here between yesterday and today. And I've got a couple of quarts of plum juice that I'm going to make plum wine tomorrow. So, yeah. And I showed you, oh, maybe 2 years ago how to make wine out of just store-bought grape juice. I showed you guys how to make Applejack. So, you know, yeah, if you have any ideas for trade, for barter, for whatever in an SHTF situation, alcohol is probably going to be a real hot commodity. And if you know how to make it, have the equipment to make something decent, or know how to make something decent, you're going to be king of the castle. Put it that way. Let's see. KP Tiger 82. What would cause tomato plant leaves to die? I have some plants that are fine and others that are dying. There's a whole bunch of things. I mean, obviously, you could have some disease. Depends on how they are dying. You could have soil-borne disease there. You could have too much water, not enough water. You're actually better at underwatering tomatoes at this point in the year than overwatering them, but you got to keep it somewhat balanced. You ever seen a tomato crack? If you know what the cracking in a tomato is from, that's from they get a little dry and then they get a whole bunch of water, and the water goes all to the fruit and it pops. Okay. So you want to kind of keep a consistent moisture on there. I know it's hard when you get rainstorms, but you kind of got to get an idea that way. Plant leaves, if the leaves are dying, on the bottom they're going to, and that's fine because you want to be pruning those leaves up. I mean, by the time I'm harvesting tomatoes and stuff like that, I'm probably 12 to 18 inches of stem before there's the first branch because I've pruned off all those bottom leaves. Because you want to do that, especially with tomatoes, because anytime it rains and it splashes up dirt on the leaves, that causes disease real fast. But you could have powdery mildew, you could have damping off problems. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that could cause your tomato plants to die or leaves to die. Part of it too is it's just the older leaves. If they're dying off on the bottom, don't worry about it. Just trim them off. If they're dying off in the middle or the top of the plant, then you got an issue somewhere. Ann Jennings, I have raw apple cider tasting winey. Okay, so it started to ferment. How to turn it into apple cider vinegar? Don't know. Okay. You could just let it continue to ferment, I'm guessing. And if it's getting oxygen to it too at that point, if you're not doing it in a closed area, that'll probably make it apple cider vinegar. But I'm not going to be the one to tell you exactly how to do that. No. Big Dean 309. Hi, Pinball. I've noticed that a great many people seem to be doing half their jobs or half doing their jobs. Materials arriving incorrectly labeled, wrong quality. Tell me about it. Okay. I mean, I built my garage. It's like, oh, we put the lumber order in for 9-foot 2x4s. They delivered 8-foot 2x4s. Now they're 2x4s. What the hell's the difference? I don't know. When you're damn near 7 feet tall and 9-foot ceiling's nice. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, I've just given up on expecting somebody to know how to do their job anymore. And hell, go to the grocery store. They don't even want to do their job. No, we closed all the registers. I mean, we've got a grocery store. They just did a complete remodel here. Okay, I mean, expanded the store by how many thousands of square feet? The place is enormous now, right? They put in, I think, 6 cash registers, and then there's like 6 self-service ones. I went into the store the other day. There was not a single register open. I mean, this wasn't like at 2 o'clock in the morning. This was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, there was not a single register open. You had to go through the self-scan. And I asked the one person, so where's? Well, we had a bunch of people call out sick today. Seems to be a management problem. Ginger ale. Susan Musser, there's good news. Great news. The mass on my husband's vocal cords was benign. We are so grateful. Yeah, good. Glad that's good news. So happy for him and you. Happy Canner. What brand of neem oil would you recommend? I'm seeing that not all the brands are pure neem oil. Honestly, I don't even know what brand I've got. I bought it on Amazon a couple of years ago. When I need it, I just painted over the silks of my corn. I couldn't even tell you what brand it is. But yeah, trying to find pure neem oil. That is true. Scorpion Metal says, post office is a joke. Took them 3 months to tell me they lost my package I shipped. Have to remake 300 coins now. Yeah, I think that was, what was it? I want to say it was Robert Bates a couple of years ago. I sent him a Christmas card. And when did it finally get to you? October of the following year? I think it was something like that. That was lost in the mail for 10 months. Yeah. Same thing. I had the Christmas, remember, you guys know Lorna, okay, Lorna was a moderator here up until January, February. I had sent her a Christmas card this past Christmas. I got it back in the mailbox about a week ago. It was a freaking Christmas card. Undeliverable at this address. I don't know, but Did they put it on the back of a turtle to go from Tennessee to Texas and back? You know, took 6 months to return the mail. Got it. Uh, Linda Bach, pinball, that substitute driver was probably one of those southern border crossers. Yeah. No, he wasn't. I can tell you that much. Stands alone, please. Tomato plants making beautiful flowers after. Okay, we already talked about that one. Let's see. McHale 539. Any tips, tricks, advice for making and bottling homemade root beer? I have never made homemade root beer, so no, I don't. That one I can't answer. If I'm making anything at home, it's beer, wine, brandies, mead, that sort of stuff. That's what, you know, I'm not making sodas at home. Raising faith. Anyone know what a source of boron is for beets? Okay. Uh, I I guess I'm at a loss for why. I mean, did you do a soil test and somebody told you that you're lacking in boron or something like that? But I mean, I've grown beets for years. I've never even heard of putting extra boron. I mean, it's got to be a trace element that you got in the soil. So I can't think. I wouldn't even know what it's for. Uh, North of the 52nd, what's my take on Russian ships heading to Cuba and Venezuela? I talked about that in yesterday's video, so we can always go back there and watch that. K. Webbles, Pinball, do you think we'll see states secede over this next election? I honestly, I can't even tell you what's going to happen in the next 5 months before or after the election. It's totally unpredictable what's going to happen. I mean, a state can't secede. That first off, it's not easy, okay, to do it. I mean, it's practical. It's almost impossible to. Okay, now whether or not the states all of a sudden come up and say we're just not doing anything with the other 49 anymore, that's a different thing. Okay. I know there were some people that were making all sorts of hay about, oh, Texas is going to open up their own stock exchange. And, there's the first sign that they're going to secede. No. Okay. I mean, there's plenty of it. I mean, everything's like, it's not like the New York Stock Exchange is the only stock exchange in the United States. Okay. I mean, go tell the people in Philadelphia that the only one is in New York. That there's a Philly stock exchange too. Okay. It would just be another one. The big problem with that one, everybody kind of missed is, the big funder of that one was going to be BlackRock. Yeah, okay, there's a place I want to deal with. Swithers 00. When you file the claim with UPS, they should reimburse you for the cost of a replacement generator. I just had an incident with them destroying a package that was marked fragile, handle with care. I hope they do, because I mean, I can obviously prove what it costs, because it's not like there aren't videos of it with me in them, but I can certainly show that. But however long that's going to take, but I want to see by, was it Wednesday? I think is the 12th or whatever it is. If they miraculously find the package, gee, oh my God, this guy's going to file a claim. I better pull that out of my garage and put it back into the shipment status. Is what I think happened. Okay, wouldn't surprise me that somebody, what it is by how the box is, the artistry on the box, and it's got a picture of a damn generator. It says, Dabson DBS 1000 Pro on it. It doesn't take rocket scientists to figure out what's in there. If they, like I said, if they find it, and I'll know, I think I'm supposed to know Wednesday, what they're going to do. Either they're going to pay me off on the claim, or they found the generator or whatever. But so one way or the other, I'll end up getting another one ordered for Karen and get that out to her. Uh, my McIntyre. Last night I was hit by the javelinas for the second time, other than a fence, which I can't afford for the whole garden. What can I do to deter them? I'm about to give up on gardening. Okay. I don't know how big your garden is, but at a minimum, could you do, I mean, with a fence wise, could you do something like get one by twos, put those in the ground and put wrap chicken wire around your garden? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if your garden's, 100 by 80 or something like that, sure, I get it. Uh, I don't know how big your garden is, but how to keep javelinas out? I don't. That would no. Never had that issue. Don't know. Gene Blair, do I prune my onion tops as they grow? If so, how close? I give them one haircut. Usually, when they start getting 18 inches high, I will cut them back till the greens are about 6 inches high, and then I let them go. By the time the greens are 6 inches high, they're already bulbing, so you're not worried about any more green growth. At that point, they're bulbing. Now you just want to be hitting those bulbs with phosphorus and potassium like crazy. Debs, Pinball, that was a good, sturdy drying rack project video. Thank you. Uh, I mean, and again, I built that. It literally cost me $6 for the two by fours. I know somebody said, it's like, oh my God, you're getting a 2x4 for $3. It was like $6.17 or something like that with taxes. So yeah, an 8 foot 2x4 right now is about $3 here. The rest of it was scrap. Okay. I had the hardware cloth. I had screws. I didn't have to buy those or anything like that. The rest of it was scrap wood. But I've said a million times, take what I do. If it's of interest, do it. But adapt it to what works for you. Sure, if you don't have a bunch of 2x4s laying around, I'm not going to tell you to go out and spend $30 on 2x4s. Take apart some pellets and make 3x3 or 3x4 boxes if you need them. I mean, the thing that's going to be good for is not, onions. I got about 300 onions. But when I get my potatoes in, okay, I should get last 2 years, and I planted the same size patch of potatoes. I get about 150 pounds of potatoes each year. And it drives Mrs. P nuts because for the last couple of years, I've had them dry, cure, whatever you want to call it, on the kitchen table here. She's like, can we use that for the potatoes? I'm like, yes. She's like, good, get it out of my house. So, but again, build, depending on what you want to do, take it out of pallets and build 2x2 or 3x3 squares out of it. You don't even have to put legs on it. You can just build it like a sifting box and stack them up on top of each other. That works fine. Use window screen, use chicken wire, an old door, an old screen door, that you had. Take the screen out. I mean, window screen is cheap. The only problem is you get sag in it, but still it'll work. Build it out of whatever junk you have, but you want to get that air circulation around. So that was the whole point. Sigrid, I've got worm castings to top dress. Any advice? Okay, you don't have to put it on thick. I will tell you that at all. Okay, first off, worm castings are expensive if you bought them, and if you got it from having a worm bin, you know what little you get. But worm castings are great. Just sprinkle it out there like fertilizer. It's great. Funny, one of the things I was doing out today is we were talking about onions here a second ago. I was watering my onions with compost tea that I made 3 years ago. Okay. And every year I just add some more comfrey to it and some more water to it. I mean, that stuff's as black as tar. I mean, and I just put it into my sprinkling deal that you guys have seen me do, and mix it with water and water everything. I mean, that's like the best fertilizer you're going to get. Worm castings, one of the best fertilizers you're going to get. Uh, stuff like rabbit pellets or something like that. Great fertilizers. It doesn't have to be expensive chemicals that you use, guys. I mean, even if you want to make good compost tea, get yourself a 5-gallon bucket, go pull some weeds. I mean, try to get some different stuff. You can put some grass clippings, some leaves, some dandelions, some whatever you're pulling out of the air. Put it all in a bucket, fill the bucket up, with the weeds. Put water in it, put a cover on it, and let it sit there till next year. And next year, you are going to have the best fertilizer, liquid fertilizer that you can imagine. I mean, if you have comfrey or stinging nettle, are probably about the two best plants that you can make compost tea out of. Throw that stuff in there. I mean, you're not getting a chemical fertilizer that's better than that. Okay, just saying, and that you can make for nothing. Mikhail 539, have I grown any mushrooms? Any tips? Hope to foray into that fungus stuff this year. No, I haven't. It's and I love mushrooms. It's just one of those things I've never got around to. The best I would say if you want to grow mushrooms is go get yourself some straw bales and condition those straw bales. The nice thing about straw bales is they hold moisture like crazy. Okay, especially once you condition them, turn it, compost the inside of it. And I've shown you guys how to do that before. Hit it with nitrogen fertilizer, lawn fertilizer or something, water it in. Next day, do nothing, do that for 2 weeks every other day, put a bunch of lawn fertilizer in it. It'll compost from the inside out. But y'all know when you see mushrooms growing in your yard, it's after you got a ton of rain because mushrooms need very wet conditions and they like shade. So rather than try to do it in the ground, go get a couple of straw bales, stick it in a shady spot in your yard, and you're going to be better off growing out of that. We already answered that question. Guys, do me a favor. Please don't post the question multiple times. Okay. I'm always 10, 15 minutes behind. You don't need to post it many times. Vicky Savage, vinegar is a 2-step process. First, it ferments to alcohol. Second, the alcohol ferments to vinegar. There you go. Prep Rebel, be right back. Got to check on a couple of cameras. Yeah, I got it. And that brings up a point. Guys, everybody needs to understand, those of us that are content creators, okay? We tell you a lot of the things we do, but we don't tell you everything. And the reason I bring that up, somebody sent me a email today and asked me to give them recommendations on security cameras. What security cameras do I have? Now, I understand wanting the question. There's a lot of things I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to get here on YouTube. I'm not going to answer somebody an email and say, oh, this is the kind of security system I have. And I hope you understand why. Okay. I'm not going to tell anybody things that I have for my security. That's kind of foolish. And please understand, most every other prepper is going to be the same way. The same way you want to kind of maintain your gray man, please understand, I need to do that too, and so does every other prepper. Even though I'm on here on YouTube, okay, I'm not going to tell everybody what I've got going on, you know. So just food for thought. Uh, Trilobe, how much weight have I lost? I lost over 30 pounds. I hope to lose 20 more. I am at 25, 25 flat right now, and I've been stuck here for about 6 weeks. So it came in at 284. I, small goals. I'm trying to get below 280, and I've been stuck in this 284 to 287 range here since mid-March. That Mark guy, am I happy with my pond results? I will be eventually. And again, it takes, I mean, it's not like you go dig a hole, pour water in it, and you're done. Okay. You know, getting the pond sealed and doing things and getting the right flora around the pond, keeping the algae out, things like that. Yeah, I've done pretty good. My fish look great. I mean, they're again 6-7 inches for bluegill. That's good. I was out looking at them today. They're good sized fish. I'm hoping they're spawning. But yeah, I'm happy with my pond results. I'd like to see it faster, but I'm also a realist and go, okay, the world wasn't created in a day. Prep Rebel, what's my opinion on growing tobacco for barter? Just curious. We've talked about this a couple of times. I don't think it's a bad idea. If you've got the space to do it, I mean, again, remember when you're growing tobacco leaves are huge, and then you've got to be able to dry them before you're going to be able to roll them into cigars or whatever you're going to do with them. If you've got enough space, and I've never grown tobacco, so I can't tell you much about it. If you've got enough space where it's worthwhile and obviously not going to take away from growing food, yeah, I'd say go for it. Okay, I just talked about that. Susan Musser, how is PBJ liking school? How is Copper? Copper's doing fine. He's just kind of hanging out, being Copper. So no big change there. Talked to PBJ earlier this week. She had her first 3 tests. And I think I told you guys the way it works for this program is there's really not a letter grade. It's either pass, fail. Basically, if you get above 70, you pass. If you get below 70, you fail. That's it. Okay. And so she called me up and she's like, well, I got my 3 tests back, Dad. She goes, I think it was an 80, an 84, and a 90 on her 3 tests. And she was all upset. And I'm like, what's the matter? And you got to, I mean, she graduated with honors at IU and everything like that. She graduated with honors in high school. I mean, she's always been a really good student. She loves school. I don't know where she gets that from because my ex and I both hated school. Somehow she loves school. And she's like, well, I want to do better. I'm like, I'm not telling you not to do better. But I mean, my comment to her that kind of hit, I said, stop beating yourself up for passing a test. I mean, that's it, It's like, no, I'm not telling you just to do 70% stuff, but I asked her, 75 people in her class. I said, how many people failed one of those tests? And she goes, a lot. I said, did you? No. Then stop beating yourself up for passing a test. But she's her toughest critic, so, and I respect that of her. LC, my postal carrier signs my certified mail and puts it in the mailbox saying I received it. They won't stop doing it. Yeah, I've seen that too. Packages that I need to sign for, all of a sudden it's like, it'll show sign for. I'm like, I didn't sign for this, and the way you stop that is you go to the post office and go, let's match the signature. I didn't sign for this. I mean, certified mail, that's a problem because Somebody requested a receipt on that one, and to go, well, I've got, let's say it's a lawyer. I've got signed copy right here that you signed for this, not my signature. Well, how was it delivered? I don't know. Maybe instead of messing around with me, maybe you should be messing around with the post office. There's problems with that. And again, like I said, doing somebody else's job, half-assing their way through their day. Dawn Hill says, I used to work at UPS and they will replace it. I'll believe it when I see it, okay? Because it's $649, as you guys know, to replace that generator. And, like the post office, when I sent out, this was funny. Again, the Robert Bates story. When I had sent him a silver round, and $25 for a silver round. Moderators I sent a Christmas present to. And I had insured it. So I paid for the insurance through the post office, right? Bought it at the post office. The clerk at the post office sold me the insurance. When it wasn't delivered, when it was lost, then the post office said, well, you can't insure something like that. Like, you already took my money for the insurance. So they, then when you find, so I was like, screw it, I'm out the money. And then he got it 10 months later. Yeah. I'll believe it when I see it. Tri-County Homestead, please continue to share your homemade alcohol recipes. They're awesome. Thanks. There's not a whole lot more to share. The wine recipe, the Applejack recipe. I think I made beer with you guys one time. I don't remember. I'll show you the tastings and tell you which ones are better or which ones are worse. We're kind of interested with the plum wine that we got here. It'll be my first time ever making plum wine, so that'll be good. I'm looking forward to the strawberry wine. The strawberry wine should be done around the end of this week. So, Chris Feilbach, thank you for the super chat. I was inspired to start a small business from a live stream. Can I send you a shirt? And if so, what size? Absolutely. You can send me a shirt. 2XL would be great. If you have XLT, that would be better because, yes, I'm a tall guy. And XLT fits better. XLs usually last me 1 or 2 washings, and then they wind up with Mrs. P because they get too short in the waist, and I like tucking my shirts in, so they pull out of my pants. It drives me nuts. And so if you got XLT, that's 2XLT, that's the way to go. Let's see. Several folks said my Berts never do well because I don't, beets. Okay, never do well because I don't add boron. One suggests using borax. I'm not putting 20 mule team on my beets. Okay, I've never heard of putting boron on beets. I've certainly never heard of putting borax on beets. Okay. We're starting to think of, a Simpsons episode, with I remember one years and years ago, it's like, oh, we got nuclear something or whatever, putting it over the garden. Beets will do fine if you have a good organic, I don't say, a soil that's got a good amount of organic matter in, is relatively soft soil. Beets grow very similar to onions. They grow right up on the top of the ground, okay? Kind of half under, half below, like onions do. And just, they're a root crop. Phosphorus and potassium is all you need. I've never heard, you're the first one in all my years of gardening, first one I've ever heard somebody say boron on beets. Never heard it. Doesn't mean it's not true, but there's old wives' tales too. Comet Moon, what's the best tool to use for hand pollination? I'm learning to grow peppers indoors. A little artist's paintbrush be the best, or that, or a Q-tip will work fine too. Either one. Because the the female end, the female flower, go hit the male flower, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's it. But people say, oh, use a toothbrush or something like that, Q-tip or a cheap dollar store artist's paintbrush. Prep Rebel, I refuse to go through self-checkout. Try telling them to go get your W-2, then you'll go through self-checkout. That my answer. I'm along the same way, but I walk up to every cashier and I will say, I'm not. She's like, why don't you go to self-checkout? I said, do you like your job? I said, if I go over there, they don't need you. They get it real quick, you know. Shannon Smith, would window screening work for the drying rack? Absolutely, it worked perfect. Like I said, the only thing is it's, unless it's going to have a sag in it. That's the only thing. But I mean, you can get over that. Just again, make sure you use plenty of staples because you don't want to pick it up and have the whole thing fall out the bottom because you got 20 pounds of potatoes on it and 10 staples. Patty G, what do you use to prevent bugs on apple trees and how do you apply it? Okay, we've talked about this many times. Go on Amazon, get something that's called kaolin clay. It's Kaolin clay. It comes in a bag. It's, to give you an idea what it is, it's the same powder that's used in women's foundation for their makeup. Okay. You get that, you get it into a spray jug, like one of those pump sprayers that you use to spray insecticide or whatever the hell it is, or weed killer or anything like that. Mix it up in that, spray your trees. How it works is it's gummy when it's wet, and then when it'll stick to the leaves, and then when the bugs land on it, it kind of sticks to them, and it gives them a hard time breathing, so they stay away from it. So, but yeah, any trees that you've got, I mean, pears, peaches, plums, whatever it is, apple trees or whatever, if you've got bug problems, kaolin clay. I just got a whiff of the garlic's right in front of me. That's why I was like, what the hell? Okay. Michael Eversberg, rabbit manure is great to use. Absolutely. T-Bone, what's a good brand for night vision binoculars? Tell you who's a better one to ask for that. Go over to Magic Prepper's channel. He's reviewed a whole bunch of them. So I know and I forget one I've got. I've got a monocular, a night vision monocular that I bought. That was after one of his reviews. Kathleen Maddox. Yeah, if anybody has the answer to this question, please let the world know. How do you get rid of morning glories in the garden? Keep pulling them and pulling them and pulling them and pulling them. I mean, that's the thing, they're the death of every gardener. To give you an idea, though, sweet potatoes, your sweet potato plants are actually a morning glory. In case you didn't know that. But yeah, morning glories, everybody's got them. And all you can do is pull them. That's it. And just keep going. Autumn West, that drying rack is great. Blanket, quilt, sweater, etc. when not in use for food drying. Yeah. Dash Micro Homestead, found volunteer tomato plants in my compost. Okay to transplant in a garden bed? Absolutely. I've got more volunteer tomatoes in my broccoli bed than I can shake a stick at. The broccoli's about done, and so I'm just going to let the tomatoes do their thing. I'm not going to worry about them. If they produce any tomatoes, I don't know if they're cherry tomatoes. I don't know if they're Siberian earlies, whatever. For all I know, they're going to be the same damn champagne bubbles that was in that spot 2 years ago. If they produce anything, it's fine. I don't care. All I'm going to do is leave them in there, and so I can mow them and till them in. I'm just leaving them for the biomass that they're going to be. But as for transplanting, uh, my cucumbers this year are volunteers that Mountaintop Preps had grow from cucumber plants, seedlings that I gave him I think last year, maybe 2 years ago. Had You got volunteer cucumbers of this year, so we dug them up and I put them in my garden. So we're kind of back and forth off the same city. It's crazy. So yeah, transplant them. Tomatoes are easy because tomatoes are simple to transplant because you can. I mean, even if you broke off the root ball on it, you can still, as long as you got hairs on the root on the stalk, you can plant that and it'll reroot. Clark K or Chad K. I'm sorry. Did the person that won live in an apartment building? I see FedEx up and UPS just going to places like this, dropping the main door, uh, knowing they need a signature. It never even got there. Okay, it never even got out of Knoxville. So yeah, that doesn't matter. My guess is it wound up going from my house to the UPS truck to the driver's car. That's my guess. I'm gonna find where we were again. Let's see. Raina LaRue, what's my thoughts on the latest on Trump's conviction? Cousin of a juror posted that he's guilty. Good job. Yeah, I saw that. Either I saw it yesterday or this morning, whenever it came out. But I guess you had one of the jurors' cousins post on Facebook the day before the jury was released. I think what they released it on Thursday, so he posted on Wednesday. They're gonna convict Trump. The jury's voting guilty. I've already talked to my cousin. So yeah, this is what's going to happen. It's a good out for Mershon right now. Uh, it's looking more and more and more. I mean, because Biden got no bounce. If you guys saw, Trump has actually gone up in the polls since the conviction. Okay. Virginia is now a state in play. It's a tie, and nobody's won Virginia. I think that Republican hasn't won Virginia since Bush won it in 2004. Uh, so now you get the issue of when Mershon sentences Trump on July 11th, does he bail on the verdict? Because it blew up in the Democrats' face, and now you have some people getting scared. Mershon being one of them, Alvin Bragg being another one. They thought this would be the death knell for Trump. Ain't happening. He gets elected, they better start worrying, and so we'll see what happens. I mean, there was an article I read somewhere today about the whole reason why Trump is not, the Democrats are lying when they say he's a convicted felon, because he's not yet, because he hasn't been officially sentenced, and that this constitutional lawyer made his whole case on why Mershon won't sentence him, and you don't know if Mershon's going to be bailing out, afraid for his own future, and bails on this. So yeah, we're nowhere near the end of this. Uh, Amy Arsenault, what's the type of comfrey you speak of? Bocking, Bocking 14. Don't get any of the other ones. The other ones spread. Bocking 14 does not spread. Comfrey, if you get spreading ones, it will take over your gardens. I've got 3 plants that you always plant in odd numbers. Okay. But I've got 3 plants that I planted a couple of years ago. I mean, they look great in the garden. I mean, they're nice, soft, almost like a huge lamb's ear. And then they've got nice white flowers that come up midsummer. They look pretty. And then when the flowers are done, you're getting ready to clean up your garden in fall, just cut them right down to the ground, throw it all in the compost bucket, Put water over it. Next year it'll all grow right back. 10-4 man. I have a 55 gallon barrel of weeds and water, about a year and a half old. What ratio of water to the compost tea do you use? I'm assuming you're talking about when you're gardening. You should use that at about 10-1. Okay. So if you put a cup in a 2 gallon sprinkling can, that's about right. If I'm sorry, 2 cups into a 2 gallon sprinkling can, that's about right. Uh, I used my little contraption, and that's a quart into the Miracle Grow feeder, and it'll run. The garden hose runs with it in about 10 minutes. That's cleared out, so it works out well. But about 10-1, 8-1, 10-1 is about the ratio you want to use. Do. Healthy disrespect. Have I had any water birds stop by the pond yet? Yes. We had a blue heron in here about a week ago, in for a couple of days, until I finally let the dog go chase the blue heron out of there, because I don't want the heron eating all the fish. So, yeah, a little too easy for them to go fishing. Tristan, thank you again for the super chat. It may not be a good thing if the judge goes for immediate mistrial than a retrial that is more than 6 weeks of Trump not campaigning. If they do it right, they'll time it so there's a small gap, then next trial. I don't think even if there was, I don't think you'd have it before the election now. You look at what happened in Georgia. Georgia's already said Trump ain't getting tried before the election. I mean, now whether Fani Willis can stay on as the prosecutor, I mean, they've already said that's going to be, if it goes to trial, will be after the election. And at that point, once the election's over, Democrats are just going to drop it, because you're not going to charge a sitting president, and if he wins, and if he loses, they don't care. The whole idea was to make sure that he didn't get reelected, and once he is reelected, it's kind of a moot point at that point. Seven Customs, did I see what's happening to the petrodollar? Well, considering the petrodollar contract expires around the world tomorrow, we'll see what happens. But Monday's going to be real interesting on the stock market. See what happens with treasury bonds, with oil prices, the banks. I mean, the world economy is based on the petrodollar. Let's see, what do we got? Breed. Keep in mind that with tobacco, different breeds and drying techniques based on region. Lots of research needed. Yeah, like I said, I've never done it. If somebody's going to do it, they're going to have to do all that research. Like a lot of these questions all the time. What security cameras? You're going to have to do the research yourself, okay? I understand it's easier just to ask somebody. It doesn't work that way. Menkia, silver price, $29.25. If you can get silver under $29, that's a good buy. If it drops under 28, that's a screaming buy. Because 28 is intermediate term support on it. I'm surprised it dropped below 30. I really am. Von Mousetrap, stop beating yourself up for doing well on a test. PA school is tough. She's doing great. That's what I told her. Thank you for agreeing. I appreciate that. Maybe I'm a better dad than I thought. Hey, Pinball, have I tried Redmond salt? I like it, and my sodium levels have dropped. Redmond salt is really good. I know a lot of canners swear by it, and a lot of the people on carnivore swear by it. Perky's Prepping, Lieutenant AEMT. Tacos and pinball don't get better than this. Hey, don't be talking about tacos. I can't eat the stuff right now. America First, what wildlife have I seen at my pond? Well, besides the fish that are in there, we've had geese come by, ducks come by, obviously the fox. I'm assuming we've had raccoons and skunks in there. I know we've had deer at the pond. I I can't say if we've had a bear, but it wouldn't surprise me. 9:59. I got time for one more if I can find one. New York budget prepper. I have medical training and I'm constantly learning new procedures. I think I would benefit a mag. Your thoughts? You think? Yeah. If you've got people with medical training are going to be probably the most crucial people to have in a mag. If you've got somebody that knows hopefully more than basic first aid, that's awesome. I mean, if you have a doctor, a surgeon, that would be huge. Uh, then you look at other ones that are good to have. I mean, a pilot, if you've got access to any sort of plane or whatever, think what you can do with a plane or a helicopter or something like that if you have a pilot in your mag, okay? The reconnaissance you get, the travel you can do. I mean, not talking about going on vacation, okay? You start to look at the skills that a lot of us have, it's like, oh, we know how to repair a lawnmower, or we know how to, auto mechanic, a blacksmith, gardening, stuff like that. Those are great. But you start looking at some of those medical skills, piloting skills, those are going to be few and far between. And that's going to be, if you got those skills, you're a highly sought after person. And I'm 1 minute over. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. And we'll out.